Ladies and gentlemen, all those drunk people who are still in their rooms, I think India has made a fetish out of democracy. We don't deserve democracy. We deserve the whip. We use democracy as an excuse for delaying development. We talk about democracy as if it's such a sacred holy cow that all sins shall be forgiven because we are a democracy. Whenever we compare ourselves to China, which is often the odious comparison, we say, but look, China is autocratic. How less autocratic are we? Which country predicts future prime ministers if it's a democracy? We do. Which country has a single family rule for almost 40% of its democratic tenure? We do. Its fathers and sons, other than Nitish Kumar, and I'm not saying this because Pavan is sitting here, I mean, every guy's progeny is going to become chief minister. So let's not talk about democracy in illusionary terms or laudatory terms. The reality is we have used democracy in order to delay, to thwart, and to dismiss real development. If democracy is off for and by the people, where are the people in India's democracy today? We've just added 34 million people to below the poverty line. And the jokers who sit in the planning commission from Montek Singh Ahluwalia downwards, every day are debating on the price of a meal. These are the kind of dolts who are running the country. A prime minister doesn't speak. Manmohan Singh is in his 8th year of silence. Even Gandhi used to keep Maun Vrat only once a week. These are the kind of people who run India today. Sonia Gandhi is the chairman of the board, non-accountable. You have Manmohan Singh, who's the CEO of the company, who doesn't speak. You have infighting. You have a government which is at war with each other. You have states which are run rudderless. I mean, what kind of democracy are you talking about? Does mere voting, does mere electoral politics mean democracy? I mean, that way resident welfare associations in Delhi are more democratic than the country called India. So here's my solution. If we're talking about democracy, then take the principles of democracy and work on those principles. The principles of democracy are not around voting. They are around delivery. The principles of democracy have the people at the center, not some goddamn family or many families. The principles of democracy have real development for real people. It is a bloody shame that in 2013, 60% of India is without sanitation and without healthy drinking water. It is a shame that in Punjab, which was once the granary of India, you have groundwater which has fallen to 680 feet. It is a shame that you have deaths with malnutrition. I mean, so let's be real. You know, we can have this huge debate and say, oh, but you know, we are India, we gained freedom. Of what use is freedom? I think Bertrand Russell was the one who said, with forms of government, let fools contest. That which is governed best is best. We don't have governance today. We have a shoddy government. We have a worse opposition. We have fractionalism at the regions. We have absolute dolts running some of the states who are not bothered about anything except coming to power. You have a maniacal woman running West Bengal. You have a further maniacal woman running Tamil Nadu. I mean, these are the kind of people, you might as well call India a lunatic asylum. These are not people who have any sense. You have a man who used to go to bed and still goes to bed with his dark glasses on. Karunanidhi. That's why Tamil Nadu has seen the kind of corruption it has. He's always had his blinkers on. Suresh Kalmadi fights for an election. What has happened in India's democracy today is we have lost shame. Shame is a very important human value to keep. There is a certain brazenness. The Prime Minister is often said to be, you know, honest. He is dishonest to the core. Because it's not about the money you make. It's about the intellectual honesty you possess. Today we have a dishonest, weak, disrespected Prime Minister. We have the Gandhi family which is abused every day, but they're not the only ones who are abused. Every family is being abused now. So at least we are consistent in that sense. So the solution lies elsewhere. The solution doesn't lie in an Anna Hazare or an Arvind Kejriwal. The solution lies in some form of awakening. And that awakening has to only happen when there will be a revolution at our doorsteps. And that day isn't far. 218 districts of India are without government control. They're under Maoist control. The situation is really bleak. Pawan will bear me out on one thing. I travel, I go abroad, I speak to people, and brand India's image has never been more sullied than it is today. We're not known for our people, our intellect, our courage, and the values that Gandhiji instilled. We're known for corruption, for chaos, and cronyism. Is this the imprint of democracy you and I want? No. We pay our taxes, we follow the law, and who do we get? The jokers who are running the country today. It's abysmal. And you know what? If Manmohan Singh goes out of the door and the BJP comes in, you'll have the same set of jokers. They'll just be wearing different clothes. So where's the hope? A lot of people say, oh, you're being cynical. No, for a change, I'm being realistic. Look around you. The Raj Thakres of the world, they never talk about the potholes in Bombay. They never talk about sanitation in Bombay. They never talk about crumbling buildings. They only talk about Maharashtra for Maharashtrians. Is this the kind of democracy we're building? And no one wants to say anything. Other than my good friend Arnab Goswami, even the media, other than obviously the Financial Times, has sold its soul. In the good old days, people said you wear spectacles to read a paper. Now you need a hosepipe to read an Indian newspaper because there's a plant on every page. What do you do? It's an abysmal situation. But here's the silver lining. The silver lining is that people like Pawan Verma have joined politics. They will bring sagacity, wisdom, years of diplomatic initiative to the core. Pawan has had great experience with culture and vultures. He will therefore bring a different level of political maturity. My vote will go to Pawan Verma. And I hope that James Crabtree, like Sonia Gandhi, will also fight the Indian election. Because I'll tell you, forget outsourcing everything else. We now need to outsource our government to either the Fiji government or Maldivian government or the American government. Because these jokers will run us into the ground. Have a fine day. And we're still waiting for Harry Dole.